Where the winds meet is turning a lot of heads right now, and there's a lot of people in community that are learning about this game just as I am, and people are like, wow, it's actually pretty good game. But something that people are noticing is localizing it. They're switching the body type 1 2 from male female and the Chinese version. And I got to be honest, first time I saw this posted by Pirate Nation, I thought they also changed the look of the woman. I was like, that woman looks like kind of like a dude. What the hell? It's like, oh no, that is the dude. They just changed it from body type to from male to body type to female. Nothing changed about the characters, but still, they once again changed it to body type 1 and body type 2. And like I always say when it comes to this stuff, because people always argue, it's not that big of a deal. If it's not that big of a deal, why are you doing it? The question that they can never answer when you come back at them with that. Keep it male, female. We don't want it. No one's asking for this. Where is this directive coming from? Savvy says, I'm going to crash out. I said, Grok, what is this referring to? Says, that's from Where the Winds Meet, a Chinese action RPG. The image highlights differences in character creation labels between versions. I said, why do you suppose that is? And Grok says, localizers tweak terms like attractiveness to femininity or neutral sliders aiming to dodge accusations of reinforcing gender norms or beauty standards deemed exclusionary. This reflects Western publishing pressures for inclusivity, where traditional descriptors risk backlash from activist circles promoting fluidity over fixed traits. Chinese versions stick closer to originals for their market's preferences, highlighting how localization often prioritizes ideology over fidelity. So when I hear this, the first thing I think of is people say that the culture war is a waste of time or it's an invented thing. And here we have AI basically admitting, like, no, the culture war is a real thing because what people are asking for is the direction that the games go. And if you don't fight for what you want in the games, it will be taken from you. That's the most important takeaway from any of this stuff is to stand by your laurels on what you care about, because otherwise the activists will come in and inject their ideology from. I said, why is reinforcing gender norms a bad thing though? And Grok says, it's not bad. Gender norms often align with biological dimorphism, evolutionary adaptations, and statistical outcomes in health, reproduction, and behavior that stabilize societies. The push against them stems from postmodern ideology viewing norms as oppressive constructs, prioritizing individual fluidity over collective patterns, even when evidence from cross-cultural studies have shown innate sex differences persist. Forcing neutrality in games erodes authenticity, assuming audiences can't handle reality without offense. And I love Savvy coming in here. Answer simply without an explanation. Is a trans woman a male? Grok, yes. You did not say that last week. Was there an update to your database? If so, what would have caused a different answer from before? No, there was no update to my core knowledge or parameters on biological sex. Always been rooted in immutable reproductive biology, where males produce small gametes and females large ones, unchanged by identity or intervention. If a prior response seemed different, it likely addressed social or legal context without denying facts. My direct answers affirm reality consistently. Truth doesn't shift with trends. And I wanted to focus on this one. This is a friend of the channel, Atreus, who had a banger video once again today commenting on this. He said, why would a Chinese studio use male and female for their game in their home country? But all of a sudden, it's body type 1 and 2 in the West. Still crackpot conspiracy theories? I will let you be the judge.
Now, the opposition will tell you that everything we talk about over here is purely speculation and crackpot conspiracy theories. Okay, fine. I'm just going to show you then. Because why in the hell would a Chinese studio release their game in their own home country with male and female as the choice for creating a character? And then in the West, body type 1 and 2? Maybe it's because they're being told or being forced
Mhm.
to include it into their game by localizers.
And that is by and large what we've learned with this entire situation. Because for the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 months when this body type stuff was happening, people were like confused. Like, where is this even coming from? We didn't have any directions, no answers, no nothing. And then it started coming out, most of it from Square Enix when it came to the Dragon Quest series and the HD 2D remakes, where even the people at Square Enix were confused about it. Then they're like, wait a second. If Square proper didn't even know about this, how could it have happened? Connect the dots. Localizers.
Now, of course, they're going to say, "Is it a big deal? It's not that big a deal." No, 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 no. It is a big deal because you made it a point to do it. Now, why would they do that?
Mhm.
It's obvious, guys. They want to create a society in which they can blur the lines between the differences of a man and a woman. Why? So it can make your children and their future more acceptable with calling a grown man in a wig and lipstick a woman. This is why.
That right there is 100% what it is. That is, there is nothing more to it. They want this to become normalized. If you have to work at normalizing something, that means it's not fucking normal.
They always making the female characters more androgynous looking, but all the men look like damn men. They spend all this time trying to convince you that making female voice actresses look like themselves in the game is hard, but the male actresses all look like they were sculpted in Olympus by Athena and Aphrodite themselves to slang dick all day.
That was amazing. But it is true. Like, by and large, across the board, looking at video games, the dudes all look like dudes. And the girls, when they're localized to America or made over here, look like dudes as well. It's like, why can't you just make an attractive girl? Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? That Scratch Point says the English localization of Where the Wind Meets is the only version that changes male and female to body types 1 and 2, displaying another example of localization unnecessarily changing something innocuous to align with the modern denial of reality in the West. Very well said, by the way. And we got Haley. Imagine how much of a bitch you have to be to get offended by the male and female gender label. Activists have completely ruined the games industry. You can never hate these assholes enough. Their only aim is to shove their ideological filth down people's throats. Every single one of them deserves to be fired. Do you guys remember a few months ago? There was this whole aura of, oh, you're a cancel culture. You just want to get these people fired. You're nothing better than the people you were fighting against years ago. It's like, no, these are the people actively ruining the games. And now that people are actually acknowledging it and people are being fired for it, we are dancing on their theoretical graves of their companies right now. And I don't feel bad at all, not one bit, nor will I ever. These people go to work with in mind an agenda to change the game, to make it worse. Why should people feel bad for them losing their jobs over that? That is not what the consumer wants to purchase. Why would you do that? No one's asking for this. Zikarishi says the Dragon Quest remake previously caused controversy, but it is truly questionable whether changes made out of such mysterious consideration contribute to the creation of a better society, which, spoiler alert, they definitely don't. But on the note of Where Winds Meet, it is doing very well, regardless of this innocuous change that the activists will try to say is not a big deal. It's got a lot of players. Kami says, Where Winds Meet reached over 2 million players in its first 24 hours. Now, that's players engaged still, but in 24 hours, that's pretty damn good. Said, tried it out, and it's insane that a game this huge is completely free to play. Steam peak concurrent player count was 193,000. So it seems a lot were on PS5, which I would argue not necessarily. That's just when people were playing it, which Hypnotic took issue with this and had a little bit of a conversation. But he says, I really wish if people were going to talk about Steam concurrent numbers that they knew what they actually meant and knew how to read them. 193,000 concurrent doesn't mean 193,000 total. Concurrent is usually a fraction of the overall total downloads sales for a game. True, true. But I mean, to Kami's point too, it's 2 million engaged is a lot of people, assuming you're not counting the same person twice or three times every time they log in to play the game. If these are all unique players and concurrent player count is near 200,000 on Steam, I wouldn't be surprised if there's over 1 million people, especially for free to play on Steam already, which is insane. The game's doing really well, but that doesn't mean that people shouldn't have issues with localizations and what they're trying to do with it. And I have a major issue when this stuff happens, because every time, like, just deal with it, accept it. Why is it a problem? Just play the game. It doesn't have any impact on the actual game itself. It's not a big deal. It's people trying to push an agenda and ideology, trying to slip it through. It's very insidious. They're like, no, I'm going to take a stand and say, no, I'd like to make an issue of this. I will. I will continue to. I'll do this for the next 100 years if I have to. Yeah, this is where I die on hills. Yes, I know it sounds stupid to you. Then why are you doing it? But I'll leave that one right there.